This video introduces some music traditions from South America and Mexico. This video is for Cal State Northridge Music 307 and Santa Monica College Music 29. Though Mexico is considered part of North America, it is culturally connected to other countries in Central America through history, colonialism, and language. The map here mainly focuses on South America, where the majority of our music sites in this chapter originate. The three primary pre-Columbian empires included the Aztec, Maya, and Inca. The Aztecs were centered around modern Mexico City in the north-central part of Mexico, with some archaeological evidence of their influence in the Yucatan Peninsula as well. The Maya occupied the Yucatan Peninsula, Chiapas, and Guatemala. The Inca Empire was found in South America in the Andes Mountain region, primarily in Peru. Spanish conquistadors and Roman Catholic missionaries began arriving in force throughout the 16th and 17th centuries. Spanish is consequently the predominant European language spoken in Central and South America, with the exception of Portuguese, which is spoken in Brazil. Roman Catholicism is the major religion giving rise to numerous associated festivals. Indigenous culture, however, is still quite visible. Language, dress, religion, foods, as well as music are often rooted in pre-Columbian traditions. All of these major indigenous groups were noted for their skills in astronomy. The Aztec calendar stone pictured here is representative of their deep knowledge in the solar and lunar cycles. Much architecture is geared toward important events, such as the solstices. The slave trade also brought numerous African populations to the area. Descendants of these Africans are found primarily in the coastal areas, with a large concentration in Brazil. The interior of South America and most of Central America were not the primary destinations for slave traders, so less African influence is found in these regions, but it is still present and influential to a certain extent in music. In sum, much of the music in Central and South America can be examined as a blend of these three cultural ingredients: indigenous, European, and African. These traits can be recognized in much of the music. The Amazon includes numerous ethnic groups. Our investigation introduces some features of the music from these indigenous peoples. The Amazon is the second longest river in the world, but has the greatest total flow, more than the Nile, Mississippi, and Yangtze in China combined. The Amazon is found primarily in the interior rainforests of Brazil, but its source is found in Peru. As one of the largest rainforests left on the planet, it has been a focal point of environmental and cultural awareness with regards to global warming. Indigenous populations have been displaced. Rather than evade the encroachment of modern society, many Amazonian populations choose to confront the issues of deforestation that are destroying their environmental habitat. Many modern Amazonian ethnic groups continue to live by traditional means as hunters and gatherers, practicing their cultural traditions as always. Others have chosen to adapt to the modern world, learning various aspects of business, science, politics, and most importantly, law, in order to better survive. Let's listen to an example of an Amazonian chant. The piece starts with a loud cry, followed by male unison singing. Let's give a listen. Certainly not all Amazonian music starts with an eagle's cry, but oftentimes the singing will draw a connection from sounds in nature. Chant traditions are very common among indigenous populations of the Amazon. The use of a pulsation in the voice, a slight volume amplification and deamplification, articulates the basic rhythm. These pulses often correspond to dance movements. Aural analysis. Unison singing is most common. The Kayapo-Shiriana Amazonians from the textbook audio example sing with a distinctive falling melodic contour at the ends of phrases. Amazonian performances frequently separate the men and women, relating to various anthropological considerations, such as marriage ceremonies, naming rituals, as with this example, or subsistence activities, such as hunting. Due to the traditional nomadic lifestyle of Amazonian tribes, the voice is the focus of most musical production. Some instruments, such as bamboo stamping tubes or small rattles, can be found, which add rhythmic emphasis, though not in this example. While music is sung on an individual basis, group performances are typically done in the context of a ritual event. The textbook audio example is performed among the Kayapo-Shiriana during a naming ritual that is associated with coming-of-age ceremonies. Much Amazonian music is closely connected with the environment. Many Amazonians are little influenced by the influx of Roman Catholicism and still maintain their animistic and totemistic spiritual traditions. Some songs are believed to be taught by spirits of the rainforest or animals. These often come to a person through a dream. Shamans, traditional religious healers, frequently lead such rituals and utilize music to assist in entering a trance state. During such trances, a shaman is believed to travel to the spiritual plane, where he or she can communicate with ancestral and animistic spirits. There are no Western influences in this music, and most of its portrayal in Western culture is based on falsehoods, stereotypes, racism, and exaggerations, and deserve little mention. Ayahuasca, a sacramental medicinal tea used by Amazonians, is often misunderstood and misused by Westerners searching for a trip or a panacea for a variety of afflictions and conditions. Peru is home to the Sicuri panpipe ensembles. The Andes Mountains run along the western side of South America with an average height of 13,000 feet. The city of Cusco, the center of indigenous groups descended from the ancient Inca people, is located here. Mountainous areas in this region tend to have less visible influences from Spain. Quechua, the language of the Inca, is still spoken today. Machu Picchu is one of the most famous archaeological sites associated with the Inca Empire. At its peak, the empire stretched from southern Chile all along the Andes into Colombia. Roman Catholicism was brought by the Spanish in the 16th century and is still prevalent religion in Peru, along with pre-Columbian animistic belief systems, which focus on worship of the sun. The Roman Catholic calendar, along with traditional celebrations, provide numerous opportunities throughout the year for festivals that involve much music activity. Here is an example of Sicuri music. The siku are panpipes. The breathy timbre is similar to that of a pipe organ, heard on carousels at old-fashioned country fairs, or perhaps reminiscent of a calliope. The Sikuri ensemble is composed of several panpipes, the textbook audio example having over 50. Let's give a listen. Aural analysis. Each set of pipes generally has only half of the melodic pitches of a full scale. Thus, the performers must hock it or interlock to play the entire scale. Oftentimes, two sets of pipes will be tied together so that the instrument has two rows of pipes, allowing a single musician to play the entire scale. This, however, is found primarily in small groups in urban areas. Sikuri ensembles will generally have a large bass drum called a bombo with an alpaca drumhead that keeps a steady beat. Peruvian music often has a homophonic-like structure where the melodic contour moves in parallel motion. The intervals most common are either a fourth or a fifth, which is not typically found in European traditions. Roman Catholic holidays, as well as traditional celebrations, are often occasions for festivals in Peru and elsewhere in the Andes. This is the most common context for Sikuri performances. The textbook example takes place at an Easter celebration and is comprised of a particularly large ensemble with more than 50 panpipes. Such large ensembles usually perform a dance as they play. The Siku musicians form 3 concentric circles around the drummers, who stand in the center. The inner and outer circles move in a direction opposite that of the middle circle. Here's a short excerpt showing such a festival. The full video is linked at the end of this video. Large festivals may include several Sikuri ensembles from different villages. Friendly competitions between these groups often occur with the winner being informally judged by onlookers, with the winning ensemble receiving the most enthusiastic response from the audience. Such performances, along with the concept of interlocking parts, are considered a means of enhancing community cohesion and cooperation. An ensemble may involve every member of a village. Everyone must work together to create the interlocking melodic line. All of these elements reflect the importance of society over the individual. The Simon and Garfunkel song El Condor Pasa, which you have probably heard, is based on a popular Peruvian tune written in 1913 and influenced by elements found in Andean music. If you are not familiar with this tune, please pause the video, go to YouTube or another similar music source, and give it a listen. Argentina is home of the tango, one of the most popular ballroom dances in the world. Pre-Columbian civilization in Argentina is little studied. The Inca did not occupy this region, so Spanish colonialization came more easily. Buenos Aires was the first permanent settlement of the Spanish and eventually became a major seaport. In 1806, the city was attacked by the British, trying to gain a foothold in South America, but they were ousted within a few months later by a citizen army. This encouraged the local population to govern themselves rather than remain under Spanish rule. A key figure in Argentina was Eva Perón, more affectionately known as Evita. She was a model, film actress, and radio star. Her radio broadcast became a primary vehicle in campaigning for her husband, who attained the presidency in 1946 by appealing to the working class. Evita quickly became the center of a cult of personality and held much persuasion over her husband's political agenda. She died of cancer at the age of 33. Her portrayal in the musical Evita has been criticized for its historical inaccuracies and exaggerations. Let's listen to our tango example. You'll hear an accordion-like instrument called the bandoneon that displays a variety of moods. First impressions and aural analysis. While much tango music includes an ensemble of instruments such as the piano, violins, and bass, the textbook example is a solo performance on the bandoneon, a button box accordion. Tango is characterized by changes of mood created by fluctuations of tempo, dynamics, and changes between major and minor keys. The musician keeps the mood off balance by frequently changing these musical aspects. The basic tango rhythm is 1 and 3, 1 and 3, in a 4-pulse duple meter. Let's do this rhythm together. Clap a steady beat like this while you say the rhythm 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. 1 and 3. This syncopated rhythm adds to the off-balance feeling. Tango was born at the seaports of Buenos Aires. The people of the port, known as porteños, were characterized as a seedy subculture supported by the influx of sailors who indulged in the bordellos and drinking taverns of the area. Tango is music as well as dance. The moody sounds of the tango correspond to the passionate displays of the dance. These include sensual body contact and sultry, often aggressive movements. The original folk dance included 3 dancers, 2 men and a woman, depicting a love triangle in which the men vied for the women's affections. The ballroom dance version of tango was created by Vernon and Irene Castle in the early 1900s. This sanitized version removed most of the erotic gestures as well as the love triangle. Still, this refined tango retained its passionate appeal, resulting in a tango craze during the early 1900s. With the advent of rock and roll in the 1950s, tango lost much of its popularity among the younger generation. Ballroom tango music is characterized by its orchestral arrangements rather than a small combo or solo bandoneon. Tango was largely inseparable from the dance until Astor Piazzolla began composing tango compositions that still expressed the same passion but were intended primarily for listening. His success brought about a resurgence of interest in the tango during the 1980s. This style is called Nuevo Tango. The story of Astor Piazzolla is very interesting. He received a scholarship to study with one of the most famous composition teachers, Nadia Boulanger, in Paris in the early 1900s. He was not very successful at first, and he would bring compositions to Nadia, and she would say, well, this is fine. I hear Bach here. I hear Beethoven here. But where is Piazzolla? Piazzolla was very frustrated for a while. At one point, she found him playing tango on the piano in a practice room, and she burst in and said, Piazzolla, what is this? And he said, oh, this is nothing. This is music from my home country of Argentina. And she said, Astor, you idiot. This is Piazzolla. Never leave your foundation and your roots behind again. And the rest of this is history. Check out the video of Piazzolla performing one of his pieces at the end of this video. Tango scenes appear in many movies, such as the Al Pacino film Scent of a Woman. It is also a common dance style found in TV shows like Dancing with the Stars. The early tango craze in the beginning of the 1900s inspired the ragtime piece Solace and a tango B-section in W.C. Handy's most famous blues, St. Louis Blues, later made even more famous by Bessie Smith, Empress of the Blues. Classical composers who've been inspired include Aaron Copland and Samuel Barber. And in case you're interested or curious, there are no tango influences in the Pitbull song 3 to Tango. I'd call it a mixture of salsa, reggaeton, and hip-hop, but the video does have a scene where John Travolta shows off some tango and salsa dance moves. Next, I will introduce 2 types of music from Brazil, samba and capoeira. Brazil is the largest country in South America. The Amazon runs through the rainforest of the interior, which is separated from the coastline by the Brazilian highlands. Most urban areas in Brazil are found along the coast. The Portuguese began arriving in 1500, colonizing the region over the next 300 years. Mining and large plantations of sugarcane, tobacco, and other goods became staples of the economy during these periods. Large numbers of Africans were imported as slaves to work in these industries. Thus, Brazil hosts a large percentage of African-descended people, along with European and mixed ancestry populations. One of the most famous figures in Brazil's history is Getúlio Vargas, born 1883, died 1954, who ruled the country during much of the 1930s and 40s. While criticized for his political tactics, he was instrumental in creating a strong sense of national identity, utilizing samba music as a unifying force. Let's listen to an example of samba, a very celebratory style of music.
Este samba do Nelson Sargento é o hino do sambista brasileiro. Diz: samba agoniza, mas não morre. Alguém sempre te socorre antes do suspiro derradeiro. Samba negro forte destemido, foi duramente perseguido na esquina do continho terreiro. Samba inocente, pé no chão, pé no chão. A vida guia do salão te abraçou, te envolveu. Mudaram toda a sua estrutura, te impuseram outra cultura e você nem percebeu. Mudaram toda a sua estrutura, te impuseram outra cultura e você nem percebeu. Ai, samba, samba, aí, maná, agoniza, mas não morre. Beleza, velha guarda? Alguém sempre te socorre antes do suspiro derradeiro. Samba, negro forte destemido, foi duramente perseguido na esquina do continho terreiro.
Samba comes in a variety of styles. The loud, bombastic version described in the textbook is typical of carnival celebrations. The more sensuous samba heard in our audio example is also heard at carnival, but is less percussion-based. Both styles feature a polyrhythmic texture. Various African-derived instruments are found, the most distinctive being the cuica, shown here, a type of friction drum where a wooden rod passes through the center of a drumhead or membrane. When the rod is squeezed and rubbed up and down, the cuica emits a squeaking timbre commonly found in samba music. Samba uses a guitar or smaller version of it called the cavaquinho, which reveals the European influence. Vocal organization is typically in call and response form, though for carnival the response often takes on a more important role than the lead voice. The lyrics of samba songs are often nationalistic, promoting the beauty of the land and its people. Many are also used as vehicles for social commentary, to criticize the government and other institutions. The basic samba rhythm, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, follows a quick 4-beat meter. Let's do this together. Clap 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now add this. And 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. The creative use of vocals and other melodic instruments enhance the syncopated feel. Samba was originally associated with a folk dance in which the participants stand in a circle and call each other out to the center by indicating a desire to bump bellies. The belly button is regarded as the spiritual center of an individual, with the belly bump suggesting a spiritual bond between the two dancers. Samba is most associated with carnival celebrations, a pre-Lent festival associated with the Roman Catholic calendar. This festival includes a large parade in which samba schools, or escolas de samba, associated with specific communities dance through the streets. While they do, they wear colorful costumes. Some competitions provide prizes or money to the samba school with the best music, dance, and costumes. Carnival celebrations were largely improvisatory until the government began to organize the events into such competitions by requiring samba schools to have permits in order to perform. Such legally registered schools were offered public funds to help with preparatory expenses, helping to create the unique form of carnival celebrations now known the world over. These carnivals generate significant tourism revenue to Brazil. As mentioned in the previous slide, there are many samba styles. The best known are samba carnavalesco, which is primarily instrumental, emphasizing the bombastic percussion. Also well known is samba enredo, or theme samba, which is represented by the textbook example and includes the use of polyrhythmic percussion, guitar, and singing. Another popular form is samba canção, which emphasizes singing with guitar accompaniment instead of percussion. Also well known is bossa nova, a very intimate music derived from samba, which incorporates elements from jazz. Now, let's listen to a very different style of Brazilian music. Imagine two dancers facing off in a circle and moving back and forth during this piece. First impressions. The bob and weave groove in capoeira is suggested by the rhythm of the berimbau, a musical bow originally from Africa and recreated in Brazil. It's pictured here. This instrument and its rhythmic patterns are the main focus for dancers during a performance. Aural analysis. The vocal organization is call and response, while the instrumentation follows a polyrhythmic texture. Both of these elements indicate a historical connection with sub-Saharan Africa. The berimbau is a bow played by striking the string with a stick. This hand also holds a small rattle, caxixe, in order to add another timbre to the sound. The other hand holds the instrument as well as a small stone or coin. As the musician plays, the stone is pressed against the string in order to change the pitch, thus producing a high and low sound, usually in the interval of a minor or major second. The tempo stays steady for much of the performance, but will shift to a faster tempo as the accompanying dancers progress through their skill levels. The basic rhythm of the berimbau will often change to indicate the shifts as well. Capoeira was created by runaway African and indigenous slaves who fled to the Brazilian highlands. This martial arts style is believed to have originated from African fighting techniques that emphasize the foot as the primary striking weapon. The compe system utilizes the foot and involves many movements, such as cartwheels and handstands, that increase the power or versatility of the feet for use in battle. After slavery was abolished in 1888, capoeira artists were frequently called on as bodyguards for the rich. Others formed what amounted to street gangs, which attracted the attention of the authorities. Many of these gangs began to disguise their combat training by simultaneously playing musical instruments. Thus, the unique fighting style was portrayed as a dance to the white authorities. The basic move of the fighting style is known as Jenga. The dancer bobs back and forth, crossing one leg behind the other. A complete performance consists of 3 sections. The cooperative section opens the dance, allowing the performers to ascertain their competitor's skill level and to work together to show the onlookers some of the more interesting pair combination moves that were formerly used in combat situations. This section is followed by a control section in which the performers' moves are relatively slow, allowing them to work on their balance and develop body strength. The final confrontational section has a much quicker pace and is intended for the performers to practice executing the martial arts moves as if in battle. Throughout the performance, the berimbau, with its distinctive timbre, acts as an aural focus for the performers. It often shifts its rhythm to encourage the dancers to move to the next section. There are several capoeira fighting styles. A battle ends when one performer either successfully strikes a person in the chest or trips them to the ground. They also win if they knock their opponent outside of the roda, or circular fighting area, for performance. Capoeira is found as a sports activity in many cities in the U.S. There are several large schools in L.A. if you would like to learn. You've probably seen the spinning wheel kicks from capoeira that are frequently seen as knockouts in mixed martial arts. There are so many films that utilize capoeira techniques in fight scenes. Some are worth mentioning, including The Avengers and Black Panther. Although they probably developed independently, breakdancing, once it started, began to incorporate moves from capoeira. Musician Paul Simon worked with a variety of Brazilian musicians on his album Rhythm of the Saints, and the Black Eyed Peas teamed up with Brazilian music legend Sergio Mendes on a new version of his classic mega hit Mais Que Nada. Mariachi is one of the most visible styles of music from Mexico. The empires of the Aztecs and Maya were found in Mexico. While Mayan culture is quite vibrant in the southeastern part of Mexico, Aztec history plays a more significant role in the promotion of indigenous heritage in other parts of the country. Tenochtitlan, built on an island in the center of a lake, was the center of the Aztec Empire. Destroyed by Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernán Cortés, modern Mexico City is built on this Aztec city's ruins. Much of Mexico's present ancestral heritage is considered mestizo, a mixture of indigenous and European peoples. As a result, many Spanish cultural traditions are found alongside and blending with indigenous traditions of the country. The existence of an African influence from slaves brought to the coast is present to a limited extent, but often not acknowledged. Let's listen to our mariachi example. The festive sound from the rhythm and voices is immediate.
que se irá poniendo.
Y los arrieros se van y yo que los voy siguiendo. Ay, qué bueno está mi amor, ay, 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 y más que se irá poniendo.
Lloraba el atajador a orillas de una barranca. Lloraba el atajador a orillas de una barranca, porque se le habían perdido. Ay, 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 porque se le habían perdido. Ay, 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 la mula prieta y la blanca.
Oral analysis. Mariachi music can be found in outdoor or indoor celebrations. The Spanish influence is evident in the use of European instruments, especially the variety of guitars used, as well as trumpets and violins. Along with the standard-sized guitar are the vihuela, which has a high range, and the guitarrón, which has a very low range. These are most often coupled with violins and trumpets. Occasionally, you will also see a harp. The voice is usually quite full, with an operatic vibrato and timbre. Unlike Spanish flamenco vocal performances, vocalists found in mariachi ensembles sing with little improvisation. Melodic lines are clear, catchy, and typically in major keys, reflecting the festive atmosphere the music is intended to enhance. In Mexican and Mexican-American cultures, you can find mariachi bands celebrating every important life event, including funerals. Mariachi is music for listening and singing along. It is not used for public dancing, except in staged folkloric performances. A common feature is the use of dynamics and tempos to accentuate the mood of the song. There are clear-cut changes when the form of the music shifts sections. Changes in meter may also occur at these points. Mexico is divided into 31 states. Most states have a unique form of regional music. Chiapas, for instance, is noted for its marimba ensembles. Jalisco, in southwestern Mexico, is considered the birthplace of mariachi, as well as tequila. Mariachi music became widely popular during the early 20th century due to its portrayal in many Western-style cowboy movies. The wide sombreros and charro suits associated with the Jalisco mariachi musicians became a symbol of Mexican attire, an image still prevalent today. Mariachi has become symbolic of music throughout Mexico. Some cities have a mariachi corner, where several mariachi bands wait to be hired for an evening's events. LA actually has a mariachi plaza at the corner of First and Boyle Streets. Canción means song. There are many different types of canción, the best known being canción ranchera, which is considered a type of country music known for its emotion and lyrics about heartbreak. It is among the most common song forms performed by a mariachi ensemble. Mariachi is quite visible in the U.S. You can find it everywhere in LA, wherever Mexican Americans are celebrating a life event, whether a birthday, quinceañera, a coming-of-age ceremony for girls, a serenade, marriage proposal, or funeral. Restaurants such as Casa Sanchez and El Mercadito feature mariachis daily when open. Mariachi is now taught in many schools and universities in our area, including a new class just added at CSUN. The city of San Fernando has had a nationally recognized program for children since 2000. American pop singer Linda Ronstadt, whose father is Mexican-American, devoted an album to mariachi called Canciones de mi Padre. She teamed up with Nati Cano, director of Los Camperos. This group, based at La Fonda restaurant near downtown LA, is one of the world's top mariachis. Every Angelino should have dinner at this musical landmark at some point. Mariachis in the U.S. are more open to adapting and challenging tradition than those in Mexico. You will hear a smattering of covers of pop tunes at many American restaurants and festivals. Nati Cano hired a female mariachi in the 1990s, and soon there were all-female mariachis like the Mariachi Divas in Los Angeles. The immensely talented New York-based Flor de Toloache won a Grammy in 2015 for the creative take on mariachi. Listen to any of their videos and you will hear a new take on the tradition. But Americans have been changing mariachi for decades. LA-based punk band El Bronx decided to record a mariachi album in 2008, and their mariachi-infused material soon became more popular than their punk songs. Finally, I can't end this section without a plug for my cousin Carlos Samaniego, who founded Mariachi Arco Iris in 2014, after years of being discriminated against in other mariachis because of being gay. This is the world's first all-LGBTQ mariachi. They have received considerable press, acclaim, and support. I'm very proud of him. I've included links to several videos that I would like you to watch so that you can see this music in action. The first is the full video of a festival with sicuri and bombos, with female dancers in the highlands of Peru. The second is a beautiful video of Astor Piazzolla performing one of his Nuevo Tango compositions. Watch the whole thing. His bandoneon playing is mesmerizing. The third video is a link to a fun video showing how incredibly elaborate some of the floats can get in the Sambadrome during Carnival in Rio de Janeiro. The fourth video shows some expert capoeira dancers in action. And the last video is Grammy Award-winning Flor de Toloache from New York City at a performance honoring Mexican-American singer Linda Ronstadt. All female groups are taking mariachi in new directions in the U.S. and Mexico. Thanks for watching.